Hi, I'm Tommi Vincent, your host of Stay a While podcast, recording live from Radio Row at Super Bowl 60. This season, we have some phenomenal guests that are joining us at the Stay a While table. So pull up a seat, get comfortable, and come and stay a while. Tune into our conversations to receive nourishment for your mind, your body, and your soul. Hi, this is your personal invitation to come, take a seat, and stay a while. I'm Tommi Vincent, your host, recording live on Radio Row at Super Bowl 60, Stay a While podcast. And today we have joining us Sandra Douglass Morgan. Sandra is the president of the Las Vegas Raiders, and she leads one of the league's most iconic franchises, bringing clarity, courage, and purpose to the organization, while helping shape Las Vegas as a premier global sports and entertainment destination. Sandra, thank you for coming to stay a while with us.
Thank you for having me, Tommi.
It's
an honor to
such
be here.
an honor to have you here today. For the last couple of years, been trying to get you, girl, to come take a seat. And you're,
I didn't know you were driving for so long. I'm
But
sorry about that.
listen,
Okay.
You are a busy woman
okay.
doing some meaningful things at the Raiders. And your contributions are already being felt. I've had an opportunity to participate in the programming that you all are doing over there for women. You're extremely intentional, you and your team, in making sure that even that aspect of the platform is being elevated. Why is that important to the organization, to have a space where we are uplifting the women that are a part of the families that have been essential to building Raiders Nation?
I think it's really important to make sure that people understand that having a good culture in any organization, especially a team in sports, when there's very, very highs and some really, really lows, to have people that want to work together towards a common goal and a common purpose. And in my opinion, what better way to do that than to find commonality amongst employees and amongst alumni and their spouses or their significant others or their loved ones or their caretakers, right? And I think when people feel safe and included and feel like they belong, it honestly increases productivity, and it's just a better place and a better environment to work in. So whether it be our women's employee resource group called Fierce that can kind of, plan fun networking activities, or even just time to relax and just kind of unwind, or when it comes to our alumni, which, Mark Davis has said is the, just kind of the backbone and the life and the blood of the Raiders. And it's how we were able to get such the beautiful headquarters and stadium that we have today. The people that support those players, our alumni, are part of that family. And in order for our alumni to be full and be able to participate, whether it be in a wellness weekend or alumni reunion, their significant others, their caretakers should be involved as well. So making sure that people have just that connectivity and ability to speak freely about it. I'm lucky. My husband, played as well. And we were go constantly, right? And we're still going that way because we have teenagers and a young adult now. But I never really appreciated what he was going through when that time to stop playing ended. It's one of my biggest regrets ever, honestly. But what I can do now is make sure that other people have those resources, and even spouses and significant others understand what that transition looks like, and what we can do to make sure, if a husband and a wife aren't doing well, if they're doing something, struggling with something individually, then the home isn't doing well, and then the organization isn't doing well. So really kind of starting, I think, to the person is what I can do, at least as being the president for the Raiders, as I sit in this seat right now.
And that spans beyond just in the world of professional sports, right? Any organization can benefit from recognizing that harmony and well-being in a home translates into productivity at the professional level as well.
Right.
And so,
And vice versa, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so when you think about even just your journey, you mentioned your husband also was a professional football player, and you are the president of the Raiders now. So there was a period in time where he was playing and you were cultivating you and what your professional career path would be. How were you able to navigate that while your husband was already on this huge platform and you're also developing yourself professionally.
Yeah.
How were you able to navigate that?
You know, Tommy, it's so interesting because it was honestly so long ago, but we were just going and I was moving. So we were actually married my second year of law school. We met when we were in undergrad, and I'll never forget, I was still a junior in undergrad when he was on draft day. He wasn't drafted, but he was picked up as a free agent. Denny Green called. He was going to the Vikings, and clearly it was his dream come true to do that. I didn't know what that all meant, but I was like, hey, we're here. Let's go. Go to Minnesota. We'll figure it all out. So I finished undergrad, and then I knew I was going to go to law school. That was always the plan, probably by my sophomore year of undergrad. And I always thought I would end up in California. I was from Las Vegas, grew up there, and the law school at that time was only 3 years old. And I thought, at the time, this school had to be accredited in order for you to take the bar everywhere. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay in Nevada. And sure enough, the school was accredited, so I ended up going there. I had a great opportunity to go there. Went there, actually, after my first 2 years, was admitted to be a visiting student at a law school in Minnesota so that we could be together, right? So this is my first 2 years he's playing. I'm like, okay, there's this visiting program. Maybe I can do it. We can spend a year together.
In Minnesota.
Maybe a week before the wedding, which is my second year of law school, he's released from the team.
And you were...
No, but I didn't. I was able to still stay and finish that last year at UNLV. Okay. And then he was picked up by the Cardinals. So that was, a 4 or 5 hour drive away. But we were always just kind of moving that. I always knew I was going to go to law school. He knew I was going to do that. And interestingly enough, when he was released from the Vikings, I actually thought, oh, good, we can spend some time together. It just shows how, honestly, young I was and not realizing that this is his dream, right? Yeah. This is something that he has played for his whole life. So we had that additional year at the Cardinals, which was great. We were able to spend, much more time together then. And I was kind of now looking for a job and doing things. But that year afterward, and, we've talked about it a little bit, probably not as much as we should have at that time, because we were just all trying to figure out what's next. And in my mind, I was like, well, what's next? You knew this was going to end, right? You knew you couldn't play forever. But, I'm not a professional athlete, so I didn't know what that was like. And I was kind of like, what are we doing next? What are we doing next? What are you doing next? And he needed to take the time to finish and figure that out on his own. And then, I would then ended up, focusing a lot of time on studying for the bar for 3 months. I honestly met with a great girlfriend of mine, and we met from like 8 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. And I said, I got to do this. I have to really lock in because I don't want to take this exam again. And he was still, finishing school, and he was working, he was coaching and going through that path. And we probably weren't aligned in what that next step was going to look like. In my mind, I knew what it looked like. Yeah. And his, it looked like something else. But at that time, this time I was 24. It's probably 26 or 27. We really didn't have that conversation about it. But, we're really blessed to have great friends, great family. He's a captain now with Nevada State Police. He can retire any moment now as well. But that was a really, really challenging time. I think sometimes being young and a little naive is probably good, because if that would have happened now, I probably would have had much more stress than I did in my mid-20s.
Yeah, we got a little more bandwidth mentally to endure those things when we're young. So now where we be like, hey, what we doing here?
Yeah, exactly. But we constantly are trying to reinvent ourselves, dreaming, having different things, different goals. When you're in your mid-20s and you hit that pinnacle of being a professional athlete, and it can go away. We don't talk enough about what that transition should look like. Yeah. Very similar, I would think, to military and veterans as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Probably, you're right there. Sandra, your career, you didn't wake up and you became the president of the Raiders, right? So along your way, you journeyed through figuring out and getting elevations, having setbacks. In that process, for you, what was it in you that even when things didn't go the way that you desired for them to go, but you maintained the stamina to keep going despite the setbacks?
Sometimes they say mama didn't raise a quitter. But, it's funny when I'm so glad you asked and framed your question that way, because I think when people talk and they see the resume, they always talk about, what you did next. And they don't talk about the setbacks. Yeah. They don't talk about the positions and the promotions that I did not receive and didn't get. They don't talk about the jobs that I went for and I didn't receive. But so I recall very vividly a time when I applied for a position, and it was honestly the city attorney position. I ultimately became the city attorney, but the first time I applied for it, I didn't get it. and I asked some questions. And I remember someone asking a question like, if you had to do something differently, it was a decision that was already made, would you have changed your mind? And I said, no, I wouldn't have, because at the time, based on the facts and circumstances I made that decision based on what was available. And for me, that was, I wasn't going to change my mind in order to get the position. I wasn't going to say an answer in order to say, okay, she acknowledged that was maybe a mistake, or she shouldn't have handled that way. And I think that comes back to being a person of integrity and having character. And that is something that my parents definitely instilled in myself and my sister at an early age. My mother's Korean, a first generation Korean American. My father served in the military. And they would always say, there's one thing no one can take from you, take money away from you. They can take items and gold and jewelry and everything else. It can't take who you are and your character away from you. I don't know if it's a cultural thing, but would always say, don't let anyone bribe you. Don't let anyone give you, don't accept any envelopes. And I'm like, nobody's giving me an envelope at 25, 30, 35, maybe, So yes, she did. It was just like someone trying to kind of, take advantage of you or have something or dangling something, remember I did that for you, you owe me something. So she was really big on never owing anyone anything, being able to stand up for what you believe in and relying on your own character, your own morals, and your own experience. So I think with that, it's been challenging. And so sometimes people, want you to do certain things, advise on certain things, recommend things, or make a decision on things. But ultimately, I know I have to do what's right, not only for myself, my husband, my children, to be able to sleep at night. And Absolutely. Very, very open with my boss, whether it be Mark Davis or different places that I worked on. I'm going to do what's best for this organization. So either you're going to trust in me to do that. And if we disagree, that's completely fine. Because ultimately, if I have someone else I report to, that's fine. But that is something that I don't think anyone can take away, that when I make that decision or when I decide to go on a certain path, that it's because I truly believe it was the right thing to do. So that's been, that was really interesting for me that was probably my early 30s. And when I was 35, I was the city attorney, and it was a really challenging time because it was the recession. And you went from a time where people, we're in Las Vegas. So, there is some abundance there. People go there to have fun. But there is a true community there, people, hardworking people that have come there for different opportunities and to be able to make a living wage. And you had a lot of foreclosures going on and different things. And it really hit me very strong to think, what is the purpose of government? What is our role in providing services and food to seniors and recreational centers and things like that? And that was, I think, a life-changing moment for me as to, when things get really challenging, that's when you can see if people want to rise above and try to lead. It's really easy when things are going well, when money's flowing and things are going great. It's everyone to get on the bandwagon. But when things are truly, truly challenging and lives are truly at stake, I think that's when your true character comes out. And so that was a pivotal moment for me. It was me like, I'm doing what I want. I'm saying what I feel. I'm advising as I see best fit. And, at least people know where I stand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you rest well at night.
Yes.
And that you're doing it the way that you see fit.
Mm-hmm.
So how does someone like yourself, with a demanding leadership role, how do you care for yourself?
That's hard. It's hard to answer. And it's something I honestly have said every single year, I'm going to do better at it. I'm going to do better at it. I have children. So I have a 15-year-old who dances competitively. She's incredible. My son's a freshman in college. My husband works. I clearly work as well. My parents are incredible. They're both living and they're still married. They're living together in Las Vegas, but they are.
Their support.
Yes, but they're in their 80s, right? Okay. So I want to be there to support them and be present for them as well. Yes. And there's never a day where I feel like I'm 100% at anything. Yes. But I know I'm going to try to do my best. So I tried to take some vacations. We scheduled something that happens in a couple of weeks. And when that happens, I definitely try to be present. I'm very lucky to have a really understanding family. I love a good spa day, even if it's a quarter or a half day. It's funny, we did one maybe a couple months ago, and I was like, okay, I did it in the morning, and I was like, no, I got to go in by 1. And they were like, well, what in the, I said, hey, 5 hours is better than nothing, right? Yeah. So I definitely tried to take time and do that. But honestly, seeing my daughter, we're going to go to one of her dance performances in a couple of weekends. That's calming for me. It's just being able to sit, be present, enjoy her, support her, because I know that I'm not going to be able to do that in a couple of years. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So I have 2 more questions for you. When you think about yourself and the journey you've been on, go back to the point in your life when you were least unsure of yourself. You are sure of yourself. What would you say to that young lady right now?
keep going because they don't know what's coming.
They don't know what's
Yeah.
coming.
I think when I think about that moment, that is just constantly being underestimated, right? And unfortunately, with some of the state of what's going on right now too, you see that just a willingness to kind of dismiss someone's capabilities and experience, character. It's so I remember that just feeling like I'm educated. I was probably a lawyer for maybe 5 years, being spoken to like no one should be spoken to that way at all. But, as though I didn't. I remember going to the courthouse, a line full of lawyers, men being able to walk through, and then I get stopped. I need your bar card to prove that I am. So that was a really frustrating time for me. It's like you think you work, you do all this stuff, you graduate, you get this license, and I'm still having to prove myself even just to get into the building. You remember those things, not in a petty or vindictive way, but people treat you a different way when you hit a certain title. And so I never will ever do that. I remember my parents going through that. So that's what I would have gotten to tell myself. They don't know what's coming, in a way of grace too, right? Because you see someone, maybe you see someone that didn't treat you okay, and they may expect, to be a certain way. And it's like, no, it's okay. And I'm not going to treat you the way you treated me.
But we know.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And me extending that means that I know, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So final thing, I recently authored The Table of Life, Nourishing the Soul of Food, Love, and Faith. And the premise of the book is to teach the reader how to build their own table, one dish at a time, using all of the ingredients of their life. So when you think about your life, what is that one ingredient in you that is necessary to be in all of your dishes in order for you to show up as you?
Resilience.
Resilience.
Yeah, without a doubt. Resilience for me, yeah. I should say resilience and love. The resilience came to mind first.
Then that's the one,
Yeah.
right? Love is inherent. Resilience is the one.
I'm so glad you didn't ask about an actual food dish, because when I retire, I'm going to learn how to cook. I thought, where is she going with
Look,
this?
as long as you're eating,
That's right.
you don't need to know how to cook.
That's right.
Right. So, but listen, I am so grateful that you took time out of your schedule today and you came and we stayed a while with me. And I want you to know, Sandra, you always have a seat at my table.
Thank you so much, Tommi, for having me. This was a much needed, wonderful conversation to have. I really thank you for having me on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I hope you felt the love and connection in today's conversation. Every woman you heard from has faced the impossible and emerged stronger. This is your personal invitation to stay a while longer at TommiV.com. That's TOMMIV.com for more inspiration for your mind, body, and soul. And let's not forget your belly. You're always welcome at my table. Please be sure to subscribe, make yourself at home, and stay a while.